Welcome everyone. We are going to be covering Swalot, and I'm honestly super hyped. Very overshadowed Pokemon with some incredible buffs here. Um, Pure Poison type is a great typing. Defensively, especially, it's a really good typing. Um, so there are only two other Pure Poison types in this hack: Weezing and Muck. All of the other ones that used to be Pure Poison have a new type. Um, so that's great. That actually creates a creative little predicament I had to solve where I have to make them different from one another because all three of them are bulky pure poison types. So as you'll see, Swalot is actually the bulkiest of the three of them overall. Muck has objectively less bulk in pretty much every way, but it is stronger and has water absorb and gooey and a different move pool. Water Absorb makes Muck much more unique from Swalot and arguably better in a lot of situations because being immune to water is a big deal, especially for a defensive pure poison type. And then Weezing, on the other hand, is like a parallel to Muck. So Weezing is physically bulkier, kind of. Although honestly, the HP might make it so they're roughly equal. I'm not positive. I'd say overall Weezing is still physically bulkier, and Weezing has good special defense and solid HP now, as you can see here. And it's also the fastest of the three of them, and it actually has a good usable speed stat, and it's really offensive, and it gets really cool moves and stuff. But Weezing is unique in that it has Levitate and Flash Fire. So Weezing is immune to ground or fire, depending on which ability you're currently running. So basically, out of the three pure poison types, two of them have abilities that make them immune to common attacking types, while Swalot doesn't have either. So you might be thinking, oh, well, Swalot is worse. It is not, because not only is he by far overall the bulkiest of the three of them, he also has still a good special attack stat of 108, and two great abilities in Metabolism and Corrosion. So logically, both of these abilities are perfect fits for them. I love it. Another thing I'll mention is that, yes, I know I mentioned in a lot of my other videos that HP is based more on size, and it still is based more on size, but it doesn't mean it has to be a one-to-one every time. So Swalot itself is pretty big. I mean, he's 5'8" and he's giant. He's fat. So that alone would justify, I would say, around 110, 120 HP. But as for the 133, he's a giant stomach. The whole thing is like expanding and swallowing prey and like whole, and his whole thing is opening his mouth super wide and eating a shitload. So I think his highest stat being his HP stat makes the most sense. So 133, 88, 118 bulk with access to healing moves with like recover, which is very reliable. And then later on at level 55, you get strength sap, which is insane for late game. That's incredible recovery. And then you also have stuff like Giga Drain, Draining Kiss, and Siphon. Siphon being a stronger version of a stronger bug type version of Draining Kiss. So those are all three of those are good healing moves as well. And also technically Pain Split. If you happen to get rid of recover, you could always teach Pain Split, but it's not the best on him because he has a high HP, base HP, so Pain Split isn't that good. But yeah, I really love the way that they turned out. They are just a really good tanky pure poison type. Pure poison resists grass, fighting, poison, fairy, and bug, which is really useful, especially in this hack because bug has less offensive resist, so resisting bug is actually like good now. And only two weaknesses: ground and psychic. And of course, you have tons of coverage moves to hit those, especially ground types. You have Ice Beam, Energy Ball, Scald, Hydro Pump, Muddy Water, all kinds of incredible coverage that I gave them. They have basically all the elemental moves, which is really cool and fitting in my opinion, at least. I mean, obviously, Flamethrower doesn't actually make sense, but it's one of those moments where it's like, okay, this is Pokemon and pure normal types get a bunch of bullshit moves, and Muck learned Flamethrower and Fire Blast, so why can't Swalot, you know? And the water moves actually do make sense given that it's a giant stomach, essentially. So I'm going to talk about the abilities. The abilities are incredible. So first and coolest thing it can do is Metabolism plus Belch. So Metabolism comes from Cheek Pouch, so essentially Swalot gets 1/3 HP as long as it consumes a berry. So Citrus Berry, 25% plus 33%, 25 plus 33, 58% HP just from a citrus berry, essentially, with that ability, which is insane. That's a lot of healing, especially in a hack where you don't have, you can't use healing items. You cannot use potions to heal your Pokemon in this hack. So that's an incredible asset. Not to mention, you can use things like Papaya Berry to boost your special attack stat with Belch, with Metabolism. And a really awesome buff to the move Belch that a lot of Pokemon get now is that Belch now gives you a +1 special attack boost. So it's a 120 base power stab move in this case that cannot miss. It's 100% accurate. And it gives you a +1 special attack boost, which is so great. I mean, he's super tanky and 108 special attack. You know, you get that Metabolism to proc to trigger, and then you use Belch 120 base power, which gives you +1 special attack, and that is just so amazing and fun. And then you can use healing moves like Giga Drain or Draining Kiss or Siphon, or you can run you know, just flat out recover, or later in the game Strength Step. Strength Step is absolutely incredible on him because of the lower base defense. Obviously, base 88 defense is still very solid, especially when you pair it with 133 base HP and it being a pure poison type. You know, you also have access to infinite EV training items in this hack. So, infinite ability capsules and instant EV training. So what you should be doing is switching between EV spreads. You know, one boss fight you run max HP, max defense. Next boss fight you run max HP, max special attack. Next boss fight special defense with assault vest. You know, you can really switch around your sets. Another thing that Swalot really benefits from is buffed Black Sludge. Black Sludge heals 8% instead of 6% now, which might sound minor, but it's actually a really big deal because over the course of 2 turns, that's 16% versus 12%, and so on and so on. So that's incredible for poison types in general. It's a big buff for them, Black Sludge buff. Obviously, it's not the greatest in-game because 6v6 competitive singles is not the same as in-game battles. Black Sludge buff will be even crazier in those, but it's still very good nonetheless, especially with, you know, if you use stuff like Protect and Poison Stall and Toxic, you know, you can really just live forever. It's so great. I really love the changes. I would love to use one just because it's just so tanky and fun and strong and cool. I don't know. I like all the pure poison types. I like all three. I love all three of them. Poison is also my favorite type. Bug types are my favorite type of Pokemon, but in terms of concept, poison is my favorite type. I just think some poison types are kind of lame in game. Not anymore, but they were kind of lame. Versus bugs are always like consistently pretty sick. But yeah, Belch is incredible metabolism. Again, you can use any berry with that and you'll get 30% HP or 33% recovery rather, which is huge. As for their other ability, basically with Swalot, you're running metabolism 90% of the time. The only time you ever run Corrosion, which is another very fitting ability, Metabolism, I don't think I need to explain why he has that. He's literally a giant stomach and he digests people whole and all this shit. And then as for Corrosion, as you can read here, which is also the logic for his 108 special attacks, that the Pokedex literally says that he can digest, like, its stomach acid is capable of digesting almost anything. The one thing in the whole world Swalot can't digest is his own stomach. So Corrosion, chef's kiss ability in terms of flavor. Perfect ability for Swalot. Honestly, if he didn't already have an ability, they maybe even would have given it to him. I don't know. Corrosion is a perfect ability fitting flavor-wise, though. As for in competitive, it would be pretty fucking great. You know, this bulky as pure poison type that can also poison steals and poisons is really useful, but in game, not as useful. Still a great ability, but what you're going to be doing is basically running metabolism, and then when you go into trainer docks, if you are preparing, you know, if you're doing a hardcore Nuzlocke, or if you're playing casually, when you know for a fact, for example, versus steel type trainer or poison type trainer in that case, which is a lot less reliable than just looking at the sheets and saying, okay, I need to poison this Pokemon, I need to use this on this Pokemon, because all Corrosion allows you to do is poison those 2 types. All right, that's it. So you can use Toxic on those or Poison Gas. That's literally it. It's very underwhelming ability. It's a very underwhelming ability, but it's very good. Like, it sounds underwhelming is my point. It's not actually bad. It's a very good ability. It just sounds kind of underwhelming because compared to Metabolism, it is. But in those situations, it's very good because you can then Toxic stall Pokemon that you otherwise couldn't stall, especially Totems. For example, Totem Togedemaru. You know, you would slap Corrosion on, you would Toxic that Totem Togedemaru, and you would stall it out. That's a very viable option. Or like versus Plumeria, you can, you know, poison one of her bulky Pokemon. She uses poison types, or, you know, Molayne uses steel types. And also, of course, random trainers here and there will always have poison or steel types. So poisoning those is always a nice thing to have. Even versus poison or steel types, you might still be better off running Metabolism, but it's there for flavor and because it fits and because, yeah. So those are 2 great abilities, but mostly it's just the stats in the move pool that carries Swalot, and also Metabolism makes him super tanky. So other really cool moves. Encore is great utility. Parting Shot is great utility. Toxic Spikes is great utility. Taunt is great utility. Again, Recover and Strength Step are incredible. Acid Armor is buffed to give you +3 defense like Cotton Guard does, so you can use that to patch up your 88 base defense, which is still very good with your 133 HP, but, you know, Acid Armor, 118 SPDEF, 133 HP, you are immortal. I love the Swalot changes. Of course, you're immortal, and it's all fun and games until a ruthless Pokemon comes and drill runs you to death and you die in 1 hit. But that's another thing. Stat boosting isn't as viable an option. Intimidate is a lot less overpowered because of all the crit moves running around. Same goes for Swalot boosting his defense up. But, you know, if you're careful about it, then you can still sweep trainer fights very easily. Strength Sap, Acid Armor. Oh, you're so tanky, and you just get all these boosts. Stockpile and Swallow are also buffed because Swallow is now a priority move that always heals you to full HP no matter what. So as long as you have even 1 stockpile boost, you can then swallow to full HP. So you could actually run Stockpile, Swallow, Belch, Metabolism, and just go to fucking town with like a Citrus Berry or even a Papaya Berry, whatever you want to run, and just really go to town. Another great thing about Belch I need to cover, by the way, is that you can actually switch out and then switch back in and still use Belch. So say, for example, first turn, you know, you get hit down below a half, Citrus Berry triggers, excuse me, So just very triggers. Now you have Belch activated. You use Belch once, you know, oh shit, they sent in a Pokemon that is strong against me. I'm going to recover up or something, that I'm going to parting shot out. Okay, now later in the battle, you can send your Swalot back in and you can still use Belch. That is incredible. So awesome. All kinds of really sick things you can do with Swalot. I really love the changes here. You also have other good poisoning moves such as Acid Reflux, which is essentially just Poison Gas but better. Because, well, it's not better necessarily because Poison Gas poisons both Pokemon, for example, versus Totems, but Acid Reflux is still better because you can reteach it. I would argue it's also better than Toxic in some cases. Toxic is only good for stalling out specific Pokemon, like Totems, but otherwise Acid Reflux is also great for Totems and good in general because Acid Reflux poisons them and drops their special defense stat by 4, so that's huge. First setup, you also have Calm Mind, so not only do you have Amnesia and Stockpile and Acid Armor, but Calm Mind plus Acid Armor is insane. Calm Mind, Acid Armor, Strength Stat, boom. You know, obviously then you lose that on a lot of coverage and you only have one move slot left for poison moves, but say they don't have any steel types, then you could probably just sweep and just blast through your resistances by boosting up. Obviously it's situational. That's not going to win every fight. Won't win them any, to be honest. Fights are going to be difficult in this hack, but it's still a great set nonetheless. Simple Assault Vest with just 4 attacks, you know, Giga Drain, Siphon, or Draining Kiss for healing, and then any of your coverage moves and stab, and it's so versatile and fun. Yawn is also good utility. Scum Shot is a priority move that will always poison and flinch the opponent, and it's 60 base power, but it only has 1 PP, so you can only click that once, so it's a little bit situational, but it's still very, very useful, especially for Totems. Yeah, just awesome coverage. Destiny Bond is good for Totems as well. If you're not doing a Nuzlocke, it's just there for flavor because he had Destiny Bond already, and you know, why not just throw it on there? He already had it by egg move. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. It's just a super, super tanky, strong Pokemon with great abilities and great moves. I love Pure Poison as a type. It's just a really good typing defensively. So I love how we have 3 bulky Pure Poisons that you can choose between, or you know, you could even use all of them. Honestly, they have pretty good synergy, funnily enough. Especially Weezing plus Swalot would be a good synergy. Obviously, then you're vulnerable to Psychic, but you understand the point. Obviously, you also, if you are doing a Nuzlocke, you can also team switch, although I am going to be playing team locked personally, but that doesn't matter. Acid Spray, also great. That is 50 base power and drops special defense by 4, so that's huge as well. If you don't want to use Acid Reflux, or you know, you can run both. Again, Belch is also very early on. Belch is at 37, which is pretty damn early. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. That's about it. It's that simple. It's just a great, strong Pokemon. You really love to see it. I mean, that slow parting shot on a tanky ass Pokemon like this, you know, it's a great pivot. It's just so good at doing so many things. It could be very good backbone for your team. And it's not passive at all. It's strong as well. So it can be offensive and defensive. It's a very good tank. So yeah, that's really about it. I'm going to leave it off there. Quick video, but I mean, the changes are very self-explanatory here. You can always look up what these moves do in the description down below. There is a very detailed link to Google Sheets. Excuse me, there's a link to Google Sheets. Jesus. Let me try that one more time. There's a very detailed Google Sheet down below in the description. You can find that link there. All right. And there is very detailed move changes. As you can see here, if you click this, you can search up all these moves. Oh, what does Infestation do now? What does this move do now? What does this move do now? You can search all those up. What does this new move do? You know, you can see those all here. I would recommend giving that a look. Definitely. If you are new here and you listen this far in, definitely hit that subscribe button. That would be very helpful for me also, as well as let you see other videos from me. I have finished everything up from Kanto and Johto, so you can go check those videos out, as well as I'm probably almost halfway done with Hoenn at this point. Maybe 1/3, actually. I might be getting a little bit ahead of myself, but yeah, I'm going to leave it up there. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. I hope you guys find this change as cool as I do. I mean, Swalot's just an absolute unit. We love him. Yeah, thank you so much. Last thing, Discord server link in the description. You can join that as well. You can talk to me in there, ask me any questions you might have. You can talk to the community in there. You can see live updates on my progress on this hack in there, because this is not out yet. It is a work in progress. I'm updating as I go. So yeah, bye-bye.